What I got, you can't buy. It resides between my eyes. Walked through the fire, came out better on the other side. See, life's like a beach if you find the same. And right now, I'm feeling like 100 grand.
You are listening to Inspired Insider with your host, Dr. Jeremy Wise.
Dr. Jeremy Wise here, founder of InspiredInsider.com, where I talk with inspirational entrepreneurs and leaders. Today, I'm here with Thomas from Camden. And Thomas, before I formally introduce you, I always like to point out other episodes people should check out of the podcast. Since this is part of the Top Agency series, you can check out the one I did with Todd Taskey. Todd Taskey has the Second Bite podcast, but he basically helps pair private equity with agencies and helps agencies sell. Sometimes they make more on the second bite than they do on the first. So that's an interesting one. We talk about valuation, the landscape, and everything else. So that's a good one, as well as Adi Clevitt. Adi Clevitt specializes in creating SOPs for companies so they can run efficiently, properly, and onboard staff, et cetera. We geeked out on our favorite tools, software, productivity stuff, which I always love. So that's another good one to check out, and many more on InspiredInsider.com. And this episode is brought to you by Rise 25. At Rise 25, we help businesses give to and connect to their Dream 100 relationships and partnerships. How do we do that? We actually help you run your podcast. We're an easy button for a company to launch and run a podcast. We do the strategy, the accountability, and the full execution. You know, Thomas, we call ourselves the magic elves that are running in the background to make it look easy for the company and the host so they can build great relationships, create great content, but also run their business. You know, for me, the number one thing in my life is relationships. I'm always looking at ways to give to my best relationships. And I found no better way over the past decade to profile the people and companies I most admire and share with the world what they're working on. So if you've thought about podcasting, you should. If you have questions, go to rise25.com. I am excited to introduce Thomas Magny. He's the VP creation of Camden and partner at the Toronto office. He comes from the fashion and branding world, actually, and he's built a clothing line for 6 years. His journey in the advertising world started around 5 years ago when he met the CEO of the network, Matthew. And Camden's growing global network has 4 offices on 3 continents. They serve anyone from pharmaceutical companies to B2B companies to beverages to health and beauty to Puma and many, many more. So, Thomas, thanks for joining me.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me. What a great intro with the elevator pitch and the sponsor all in one. Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Talk about Camden and what you do.
Yeah. What is Camden? Well, first off, I think Camden is a collective of people around the world, born local, and we're basically united by our shared belief in audacity, disruption, and creativity. Okay, so it's really that kind of multiple aspect that I think it brings that uniqueness to Camden. As you said, Camden right now is 4 offices. And some new flagship city is going to be announcing soon. So that's pretty exciting, actually. And something that is very important, like to know about, the Camden expansion as well, is that we want to stay at a human scale, meaning that we want to stay agile. We want to keep a low head count in every office and really be able to serve our clients the same way. Everything that we do is custom and tailored to our clients' needs. So it really allows us to be hands on deck and never recreates the same formula for every client. And I think that's something that I really appreciate about Camden.
What are the services you offer? Let's take Puma, for example.
Yeah.
We're looking here. If you're watching if you're listening to the audio, I am. There is a video component here, and we are looking at the Camden website. You can find it at CamdenAdvertising.com, and we see here Puma basketball.
Well, the Puma one is an interesting one. It's a brand that we wear. So it's a dream come true to work with them. This has been managing by the Lyon's office in France. But kind of going back into a little bit like what kind of service Camden is offered. Puma is a great example. But we have a 360 approach. We're a fully integrated agency because we believe that I think the brand experience is a connected journey, one that brings consistency and distinction, like across what a brand says, what a brand does, and what it delivers, right? And we believe as well that design should be at the service of the communication objective of our clients. We're not the type of doing those creative ego trips, which sometimes it could be very, very, very tempting. But in the client side, we're working with global brands, smaller purposeful mandates for smaller companies, and really helping them making a difference in their markets. Here, the Puma example was really, like an awareness campaign, bringing them the new launch of the collection that they had, and from the ground up, doing the creative strategy with them, realizing this was amazing. Not very well involved in this. The creative team in Lyon is killing it. It's a success story of Camden. We're really proud of them.
Yeah, well, if the shoes can make me dunk like that, I'm gonna buy a pair tonight.
Do you play basketball?
Yeah, I do.
Seriously, amazing.
Yeah, and if you're looking at the video part, you can see we're here. You can see someone dunking the basketball here. And I love on your website actually how when you go to the website, you're looking at these features where, like, if you go to the video, basically everywhere that I'm scrolling here, you could see the play button is following me. And it's very engaging. When I first came to the site, it makes you want to, okay, well, what's going on here? I got to click. I have to click and see how this works. So I love some of the features on here.
I love it, Jeremy. You're very easy to impress. That's amazing.
I've not seen anyone else have this type of feature before. Maybe I'm not going on enough websites, but I love it. Maybe talk about a milestone and with a client, because obviously the company's been around for a while, and right now people may be thinking, well, you've had big brands, so maybe it's not so hard to get a Puma. Do you remember one of the milestones where maybe it wasn't so easy to get one of these great flagship clients?
So we have a very, very versatile portfolio of clients, right? So I think the easiest way is, building on your expertise and your experience, and what kind of sector you have in your portfolio to knock at some doors, right? I think we had many milestones, but opening some different markets and different sectors from the business development intelligence that we have and the trust that we have to our clients is something that is amazing. We started years and years ago in the education sector, for example. We work with so many different organizations, with so many different schools, on so many different levels. For us to knock at a door or to win an education mandate is a little bit more easy than other sectors that it didn't went to. And something for me that it was kind of like a milestone recently in Camden, Toronto, is to win the Soleno account. Soleno, I'm going to give you them a little shout out here, but Soleno is the first developer of sustainable solution for managing water. Meaning that they're like a sustainable solution for the cement pipe that we have all over our cities, all over in the countryside, residential, commercial, name it. So they're a fully integrated company that is in the circular economy as well. So they're recycling a lot of plastic to make some PhD pipes, and to really be able to master the reusable water that we have in our grounds. So being able to kind of pierce that sustainable market for us, and for us and for me is a big milestone, because we want to make difference. We want to bring purpose and bring a difference into the market, right? And not just, and I'm sorry, but to sell the new chips that is, in the grocery stores, right?
What were they looking for when they came to you?
They were looking for a lot of different things. We started, it's a Canadian brand, Canadian company. they had many competitors on the market. So like they're trying to be like the thought leader, right? I mean, they're not trying, they are, but we need to be able to communicate that. That's the first objective here. We need to convert, we need to talk to the right audience, but now we are operating their integration into the US market, which is a whole new ball game. It's a different market, it's a different storytelling. I mean, it's still the same brand, but we need to tweak it a little bit more. So we are rebranding Soleno for the US market, bringing them a little bit of a better storytelling for this market, and being able to really communicate the plus value of their product and the urgency of this matter here. So yes, you could talk to so many different things specifically in terms of a spec of a product, but what is the real benefits? And I think like this is what we need to communicate as an agency. What are the benefits of a product or a service? And I think this is something that we're trying to really nail with them. And so far, we're doing an amazing job. I think our team are killing it.
How does that work as far as, so like, obviously you're doing a deep dive to kind of uncover the benefits. And I'm sure when a company's too close to it, sometimes it's easier for a company like you to come in from the outside and identify these, but then talk about the execution part. So from the video part, paid, like how do you actually get the word out?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a funnel. It's a process that we are trying to do every day in the most chirurgical approach as possible. Sorry, my French.
Pardon my French. Yeah, surgical. I got you.
Again, as a 360 agency, we have all the services here. So it needs to start at the beginning to the end. And what is very interesting about Camden or, like a fully integrated agency is that we understand and we are able to forecast every step of the process versus, for example, like a client that has a creative agency, a production agency, a media agency, strategy agency, PR. So we are doing everything internally, which really gives us like an overview. So obviously we need to start with an audit. We need to get some data. We need to crunch some numbers. We need to do some workshop with the clients, with other people in the industry to really kind of bring that insight, right? We want to base our initiative on something concrete, something tangible that we're going to be able to bring to the forefront. So that's always the first phase. Obviously, really understand what the clients want because they know best. And we need to really get a glimpse and grasp what that is. And after this, obviously, there's a huge part of strategy. We need to be able to really analyze where we're going, which markets are we targeting, and how we're going to be doing this. We have a strategy director that is incredible. We love to work with him all the time. It's always a blessing to have him on the team. And after this, this is where I love is when the creative aspect is going to come into place. So based on the strategy, the insight, the angle that we want to approach, how it's going to be coming to life. So is it a big production? Where are we going? And this is something that is interesting as well, is that we are really sensible to the media. So what kind of touch point? What is the audience? Are we going to, like traditional media? Are we going to digital? Which format are we going to do? What is the consumer habits? So we're kind of having all those talks all the time. And that kind of brings sensibility to like the media team for a creative standpoint, vice versa. And after this, when the creative aspect and the creation is done, this is how we're going to be delivering. So this is the media and the deployment, optimization, and so forth and so forth. And through all of this, you have one department, that is extremely, extremely important, is the account service, right? So the account service for us is kind of like the extension of the client as well. They're talking for the clients and they're doing the bridge with us. And we're very fortunate to have an account service that are extremely versatile. They are formed in media, in creation, strategy. So they're really going to be able to help the client to do the best as they can and really be able to give them like the great insight right off the bat and not always talking to the team. Like they are formed into like that 360 aspect. And this is something as well that I really appreciate from Camden.
What does success look like for a company like that?
From like Soleno? from a
Yeah,
Solano perspective.
because there's so many directions that this can
Yeah.
go, right? And
Yeah.
they're trying to get in front of so many different people because there's residential, there's commercial, there's
Yeah.
government. When you map out a campaign like this, what does success look like?
So there's many KPIs. Obviously, you want, bottom line, you always want some conversion. It depends on which campaign. If we're taking, for example, like the implementation in the United States, the first objective is to get the word out there. It's to get attention, to be relevant on the market, to be able to, get a couple of market shares, because it's a long process. There's many different competitors in their space, and we need to position the brand as a thought leader. That's potentially the first milestone that we need to achieve. After this, we need to be able to bring some consideration to it. It's a little bit like the ADA formula, right? But we need to be able, from a new market with a big market like this, it's a Canadian player, right? That brings, like their know-how and their services and product into the US. So the first thing is awareness. And after this, we're going to be bringing some consideration, and we're going to be able to tackle conversion after. But the first one is to get the name out there and to position themselves as a thought leader, as expert as well.
Yeah. I ask because it's a big undertaking. You know what I mean? Like, if a government's doing a job, there's probably a really long sales cycle, and it just is a tough undertaking. So I guess that's why they need you.
I mean, yeah. How can I say that? And this is going to be like a little bit more of like the bigger scale, but Camden, I believe that we're doing the brave thing on a lot of different mandates. We're paid to make a difference, and not to maintain the status quo. For example, like Solano here has been fighting against cement because it was the cheapest and the easy solution for every government, for every corporation. But like now they're bringing a more sustainable solution that needs, a lot of infrastructure changements, like, like digging into the soil, like changing the whole system. I mean, it's a process, but it's for better future, right? So that isn't always easy. It takes courage and audacity to challenge and push it at the right times, but we are paid to make a difference, and we want to work with brands that wants to make a difference, because this is where we're good, And when we're talking about good, for us, we're trying to bring that standard of good. Good enough is not enough. We're trying to hold ourselves at the highest standard across the board. And I guess our entrepreneurial core is really something that keeps us going and aiming upwards.
Talk about what you've learned from the CEO.
Wow. Okay, brace yourself. Well, Mathieu is, I would say I'm gonna give him a little tap on the shoulder here, but Mathieu is the reason that I joined Camden. He has an unmatched drive and an unmatched vision, which is a good reason why Camden is striving so hard, and it's contagious. And it's something that I really, really appreciate from Mathieu. And again, the 360 approach, the fully integrated agency, is not an easy beast to tame. So you need to be able to understand every part. And Mathieu is really have this holistic approach and understanding of the market, of the services, and how we want to bring, Camden into a new space of agency. And that vision is something that really keeps us going, and that every employee, every piece of the staff, executives are embracing on the day-to-day, and that that unity creates a lot of the strength of Camden as well. So in a nutshell, Mathieu brings this to the table a lot, and it's amazing.
Talk about culture. There's 4 different offices.
Yeah.
Globally, how do you maintain culture across the company?
So culture has been cultivated for a while now at Camden. We have people from France, we have people from Hong Kong, people from Quebec, people from Ontario. Obviously, as I said earlier, that difference of culture, from the ground up, from the get-go, is what makes us unique. We're not the only one. There's tons of agencies that are the same. in terms of this multicultural aspect. But it's to be aligned into the same vision, to be aligned into the same belief and the same values that are extremely well communicated by Mathieu and by the C-suite. And again, we need to be able to understand which kind of client we want to work with, what kind of difference we want to make. Where to want to go, it's something that ties people together. If you don't know where to go, you don't know what to do. So that aspect has been well covered. And it's something that keeps us together. Obviously, we have weekly meetings where we have,
talk about that, because how is it communicated, right? Talk about what's the frequency of meeting,
every week.
What are the meeting that like inter-office, external offices?
All the time. We're talking all the time together. We have some exchange program for staff, going into Lyon, going into Hong Kong. Well, Hong Kong is an interesting piece. But people can travel. We're talking to each other. For example, Lyon has very a specific skill set in creation. They're the creative hub of the network. I'm going to say it. We have obviously our directors, copywriter, graphic designers, but we have very good motion designers, 3D artists down there. So for example, we need a 3D mandate, so we need some motion. We're going to be talking to Lyon. So an art director from Montreal is going to be talking to 3D specialists in Lyon. We're going to be sometimes, and this is something that I really appreciate from Camden as well, is depend what kind of mandate in which sector, we're going to be able to create a squad team, a tactic team. For example, if you have somebody that, have a little bit of experience in the fashion industry, and if it's in a Lyon or in Hong Kong, I'm going to be coming in, if it's, more into the food and beverages in Montreal, we have our DC Mitch that has an extensive experience down there. So we're going to be able to create, him as the DC of the team. So we're always working together. It depends on which mandate. So just in the day-to-day, we're working together on the mandates, but we have weekly meetings for development, for the network vision, and we're cultivating that on the daily. So it's just the time zone that could be a little bit of an intense one, especially thank you, Julie, in Hong Kong, to bear with us late night with our weekly meeting, but we're used to it now.
What was the decision to open a Hong Kong office?
It's always been a dream of Mathieu and Marie-Michel, but I don't know if you know a little bit about the Hong Kong market or not really.
No.
Okay, so it's a very interesting political situation down there in Hong Kong, but Hong Kong is a business hub that is unmatched, and it's kind of like a satellite location in Asia, meaning that yes, they're in China. They have some rules to respect, obviously, but it's the brand down there have a lot of autonomy on their decision making. So we have proximity with clients that, for example, here in Canada or in Europe, we would not have, because the situation is so specific in their market that they really need people that understand their market more than ever. It's that goes for everything, but especially down there. So we're talking with brands that are incredibly big and that we didn't know that we were going to be able to talk with them and work with them so quickly. But as we have this expertise on the market down there, we're able to communicate with them. And Julie has been an amazing GM. She's killing it. And it was ballsy 100% to open this during the pandemic. But again, we believe in disruption and we believe in audacity. And that was a good example of it.
We didn't even talk in the front of this conversation about you decided to open an office there, but also in the midst of the pandemic.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and at that point, maybe Mathieu would be better placed for me to because I was not involved in all the details of that transition. But everything has a timing, right? So we met the right time. We met the right people. We had the right connection at the right time. And for us, pandemic or no pandemic, it was the right timing, and we just went right through it, and there was no question if we're not doing it or no or not. Like, I mean, it was pretty intense. Logistically wise, it's something, but we made it, and we're super happy about it. And it's slowly but surely, but it's our new baby. Hong Kong has been like, what, 2 years now, a little bit more, 2 years and a half, and I mean, it's going very well, and we're very happy to have made that move.
You said also, Thomas, that there's you're not allowed to say where, but there's another probably expansion under wraps. How do you decide whether to expand into a different region or city or not?
So there's many ways to do it. It's either you want to partner up with an agency that is already existing. You want to open up an office from the get-go. There's many factors on there. First off is the compatibility of our DNA and the market. Is our portfolio going to be relevant down there? Is it an extremely clustered market? What is the added value for us to go there? We're not the type of, okay, we're just going to be opening an office down there because, like, I mean, we want to send a signal. Is it going to be lucrative? Is it going to be profitable? And are we going to have fun in this market? And in the scenario of like a fusion acquisition, for example, if we're partnering up with other agencies, I would say the most important thing is the shared vision. Are we going to be able, like I said, like, obviously there's going to be like some complementary aspect, like, like your team, is it complementary for us, your portfolio of clients, you guys, the financial makes sense. There's like the market, there's so many different things, but the main thing is the human fit. Are we going to be able to work together for 5, 10, 20 years? Are we aligned into the same mission, to the same vision? And are we going to have fun working on a day-to-day? Because we're working on a day-to-day basis with everybody. So, and I think this is what creates value. And I think like it creates value for us and for our clients. So I think this is the big thing to really narrow down is, are we aligned human-wise? Are we sharing the same vision? Is it clear? Are we excited to work together? For like a fusion acquisition standpoint, I think this is the main point. Yeah.
From, you mentioned mission and vision a few times, which kind of bleeds into client fit, working with the right clients.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, that mission and vision allows for a decision tree, right? Anyone could make decisions based, if you're looking at the North Star. So talk about client, who's a fit and who's not a fit.
I would say a client that are open to audacity, a client that is open to be challenged, a client that is open to creativity. That's 3 good starters to see if there's a good fit for us. We want to challenge the status quo. We want to bring something different on the table. And if we're just doing the same formula that has been doing, hopefully there's a lot of money on the table because we're not the type of people that just wants to, do the same thing, bring the same formula that has been done. We're challenged to outdo ourselves and to be able to bring something different to the table. So I would say like a good fit would definitely be a client that is open, that wants to be challenged, that wants to be, to want to be pushed forward. And we really love, I was talking a little bit earlier about the account service team that we have here that are extremely agile and versatile. They're going to be the one that is going to be, okay, you know what, we're going to be able to work together and we're going to be able to create some magic. They're going to be able to flirt right off the bat. So this is something that is extremely important for us. But after this, I mean, there's many different sectors that we've been working with. But like a good fit for us, more, in a pragmatic way, would be a client that wants to change something in their market. We're calling this a little bit about the challenger brands, clients that want to be that want to disrupt a little bit their sector and trying to bring some more market share their way in a different approach. For example, like, it's a challenger brand is not just the number 3 or 4. It's not a position. It's a brand that wants to bring something different in their sectors. And this is the type of client that really stimulates our teams. And I think this is something that we're looking forward. Obviously, this is the holy grail. Everybody wants to work with them, I think. But this is, for the past couple of years, we've been positioning ourselves with that type of clients. And it's really the type of clients that stimulates our team and that brings the best out of us.
First of all, Thomas, I have one last question. Before I ask it, just thank you for sharing the stories and some of your expertise and advice. People
Pleasure.
can check out camdenadvertising.com to learn more. And my last question is just resources. Resources, it could be books, business, marketing, advertising. It could be also mentors, whether it's actual mentors or distant mentors. What are some really good resources people should check out?
You mean resources like what kind of Camden could bring to like newcomers, like to staff, to?
I mean, if it could be books, like external books that you've learned over the years from on marketing or advertising, or mentors as you kind of went through your career. You mentioned obviously the CEO. What are some of those that you'd recommend people to check out?
Well, I mean, I think there's so many different books, but there's two that kind of stunned me. Like I'm a creative director, right? So I mean, I try to study the psychology and how people are thinking and how to be engaging, right? But first off is called Sapiens. It's the evolution of human. In a nutshell, it's a big book, but it's something that
I've heard great things about it. Yeah, multiple people have mentioned.
It's not related directly to marketing, but it's really bringing your eyes of like how the human is evolving and their habits and how to interact with them, and it really brings a perspective that is extremely interesting on our species. And the second one I would say is potentially The Purple Cow from Seth Godin. Seth Godin has been a marketing god, has been but it's how to really narrow down a differentiation on the market for your brand, for your company, and it's perfectly explained. I'm not going to be Sapiens by Yuval, but the Purple Cow is something that every marketer, whichever in which department you are, should read 100%. To be able to push your difference forward for you and for your clients, for your agency, for everybody. And it really, in a nutshell, it's a small book. It explains perfectly. But I mean, so Godin said Godin. But this is something that kind of changed my life in terms of my approach. 100%.
Love it. Yeah, Purple Cow. We'll pull it up in a second, but check it out with Seth Godin, Sapiens. And I just want to be the first one to thank you, Thomas.
Hey.
Thanks for sharing your expertise, and we'll see everyone next time.
Thank you so much for having me. Take care.
What I got, you can't buy. It resides between my eyes. Walked through the fire, came out better on the other side. See, life's like a beach if you find the sailing right now. I'm feeling like $100 grand.